Hello, welcome to Sweet Freedom Sunday. Now, as you have just heard, I'm not feeling my optimal best self. I actually have a head cold. And I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about colds and flus, that kind of thing, and how we can treat it, and some of the causes that we might be less familiar with. What happens when the body is too acidic is it needs to start to get rid of some nasty things. It will actually create mucus to exit those nasty things from the body. And when we are out of balance, we are much more likely to get a cold, to catch a cold, or actually even produce a cold within ourselves. I personally think one of the reasons they haven't found a cure for the common cold is because it's not so much a contagion, but something our body does to protect itself when we are out of balance, okay? When we are too acidic, the body produces a lot of mucus and starts to want to get that acid out of the body. So it wraps it up in mucus and then it comes out of our body. Not very attractive to talk about, but I think it's really important because a lot of times I think most people think that a cold is something they don't have control over. But I'll tell you that when my body is completely alkaline, I never have colds. And my friends who live 100% of their lives in an alkaline state, they never, ever, ever get colds. So this is something for us to take away, is that we actually have a lot more control over this than we think. And as I've talked about many times, I'm not a perfectionist in what I eat. I am here for the food in this incarnation, and I'm trying to find that balance of enjoying those foods that are indulgent while not creating an environment within my body that's too acidic that I get something like a cold. Now, it's really important to understand that the cold is your body's way of telling you you're out of balance. And if you're really out of balance, you get even sicker, and it tells you, in many different ways. Our body's constantly trying to communicate with us. So whether that's headaches, stomach aches, it's always telling us when we're out of balance. So for me, getting a cold is like, whoa, stop, start to take care of your body, start to alkalize. So what am I going to do when I start to alkalize? The number one thing, as always, with Return to Food and Sweet Freedom, is to focus on what you're not going to have in your body. So I try to eliminate as much as I possibly can anything acidic. And I don't mean acidic in the form of like a tomato or a lemon, so it's not as its natural state, but more acidic is in its acid forming within the body. So lemon, which is acidic, is actually alkalizing in the body. So what are some common acid forming foods that are all around us? Tea, that's black tea, coffee, meat, dairy, refined sugars, oils, salts, grains, chemicals. Mostly every processed food is acid forming in the body. Understand that milk in its natural state is alkalizing, but as soon as we pasteurize it, it becomes acid forming. And these are the things that they're all around us. So there's particularly refined sugar, that's one of the things with Sweet Freedom. And the alkalizing things, just to reiterate, are the things that are most abundant in nature. And if you want to alkalize very quickly, you want to get green things into you. So in the form of salads and green juices, and in their closest to their raw state, they're going to be the most powerful. So when we're trying to actually get over a cold, prevent colds, all that kind of thing, the things that we find in nature that are most abundant, particularly green, are the things that are going to alkalize your body the fastest. One of my favorite tonics, that as soon as I get the sign of a cold, what I will do is I will have half a lemon, and I take about an inch to an inch and a half of ginger, and I grate it on a microplane grater and squeeze the juices out. You can also juice it. And then probably about 2 to 3 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. I top it up with just a little bit of water because I do find it quite a shot to take. And then you can just chase that with some lemon water or nice spring water. But what that will do is it will start to alkalize your body, and it will start to break down mucus, and it'll start to get rid of the things that are actually creating the cold. And I just find it a much faster way to move through the cold cycle. And when I do those things, when I eliminate anything that's acid forming in my body, and I start to alkalize with green things, green juices, take that tonic, drink lots of liquids, I go through a cold in a matter of 2 to 3 days, and sometimes even prevent it from going even 2 days if I can catch it in time. So summer cold, winter cold. What I want you to know is how powerful what it is that we're eating and how that impacts our body, and that you have way more control over that than we are led to believe. So, big thing, if you've got the first signs of a cold, start to alkalize, remove acid-forming foods, and get tons of vitamin C into your body in supplement form, in natural food form. And the other thing too is to start to give your body a rest from stress and pressures that creates an acid environment in our body. And often that stress causes us to eat acid-forming foods to cope with it. So these are some of my favorite tips when you get the first sign of a cold. Understand that you can actually do some really powerful things to switch it around very quickly.